Hey friends. I had a thought come through this morning, and it was sort of it was born out of a sense that I woke up with. I woke up this morning, took a little extra time getting up. It was a weekend. Annalise went to bed a little late last night. And so I didn't get up at the sort of like exact time that I normally get up and launch into my morning routine and whatnot. And there was a part of me that always, when that happens, that kind of activates and feels somewhat anxious, because it's like, oh, I know how important this is, and I know how I feel when I do it. But it's almost kind of like, I think I've talked about this in previous posts, there's a sense of tension around a practice that is all about releasing tension. And so I sort of caught that, and I was like, listen, let me just go easy here. Katie woke up as well, and we sort of had a little chat about Annalise. Felt like there was a very natural rhythm to the morning. And later, as I then did end up doing my Qigong routine and my meditation routine, I got this sort of like message that it's okay to follow my natural rhythms. And that's something that, of course I would have said that's obviously true, but it was something that still showed up and carried some significance for me, because I had just literally kind of had a morning where I was inclined to not trust that, and to sort of, I felt the anxious tug of, oh, what if I don't do my routine? And this ties into a whole kind of larger picture, because I've also been, as you all know, if you've listened to any of my posts, I'm a big fan of Sadhguru right now, and he talks about a lot of he talks about rhythms and natural rhythms and the rhythms of the planet and the rhythms of the human body, and the lots and lots of different perspectives on cycles and rhythms that we all experience, whether we're aware of them or not. And one of the ones that I recently hooked into that he has talked about is there are 2 days per month when it's actually optimal for our bodies to fast, to not really eat any food. And it's 4 days before the new moon and 4 days before a full moon. And I saw this video, I don't know, a month or so ago. And so as an experiment, I marked the day in my calendar, 4 days. I found out when the new moon is, and then marked the day 4 days before that. And I've got another one coming up for full moon. And or maybe it was full moon recently and it's new moon coming up, I forget. But I got to the day, or I got the reminder a day before, and I was like, oh, okay, tomorrow's that day. Let me see. So I experimented with not eating. And what he talks about is, on this day, if you observe your body's natural rhythm, you'll find that it's very easy to go without food. It's not a struggle. It's actually a day that the body is kind of asking for that. And so I thought, okay, that's interesting. I've done a fair amount of fasting and cleansing and various practices along those lines. I had never been aware of this cycle, so I was like, let me experiment. And sure enough, I started the day, didn't have breakfast, and I could tell at breakfast time that was like, okay, I need to just like decide not to do this and then see how it goes, because my habit was to get up and have a normal breakfast. But I said, okay, let me just go without it. And then my day started moving along, and it got to lunchtime, and I before I knew it, it was like I was just cruising, and it was very, very easy to go an entire day without food. Now, I did have dinner that night, And Sadhguru also talks about, oftentimes in the kind of Hindu tradition, there will be a meal that evening. But I ate a really light meal, and I almost kind of didn't even need that. I just ate something because we were eating as a family. But it was really interesting to connect to this day on which our system is kind of optimally primed to go without food, and to experience that, to really genuinely feel, oh yeah, I can tell that, because I'm not somebody who I can skip meals pretty easily. I don't have a whole lot of trouble with that by and large. But at the same time, you ask me to go a whole day without food, like I'm definitely going to notice that. And so it was really interesting to do this on a day when I really could tell, oh yeah, my system is not asking me for food today. It's really not asking for food. So this is an example of linking with a natural rhythm that I wasn't even aware of, and that is now it's something that I can tune into, and I'll probably still have to mark the day on my calendar for quite some time to remember that that's the day. But it just all serves to remind me that there are natural rhythms to our practices. There are natural rhythms to our emotions and our minds and there's a 11,000 year cycle of the sun, which we'll only get to experience a fraction of over the course of a lifetime. And there's but there are many, many natural rhythms, many, many planetary rhythms that are having an effect on us. And if we are not aware of them, then it's more likely that we're just going to be kind of in conflict with them. It's likely that they'll affect us, and we'll wonder what the issue is, like why this effect is manifesting us, if there's no connection to, oh, it's part of a cycle. But the only way we can really, and then, obviously there are traditions and there are things we can study to learn more about that, but there's also simply trusting our own intuition. It's kind of like a combination of trusting our intuition and letting ourselves naturally flow in the way we need to, and at the same time, maintaining a consistent practice. I don't think that, like, if I go 5 days without meditation, I'd have a hard time saying, yeah, that's just my natural rhythm. Possibly, not saying it couldn't happen, but there's this dance, I guess, is my point, and it's what I was really kind of receiving this morning, because I could tell there was this internal imperative to do something, to follow my habit rather than listen to a rhythm, and listen, and that rhythm had a very natural flow to it. It really kind of felt like once I put down the imperative and the kind of compulsion, I was able to hook into what felt like, okay, this is the energy current of the day, and allow that to guide me a little more easily. And I'm convinced that current was already there, and that the way that my morning went was exactly what it needed to be. I allowed myself to ride the wave of today, and of course the obvious effect is that it relaxed me. When we're in harmony with these rhythms, we can find a different level of relaxation, we can find a different level of peace. We're not in conflict with the kind of natural course of things. So it's just funny to me that even something as beneficial and as important to my life as my yoga practice or my qigong practice or my meditation practice, things that really do kind of form the core of my practices that keep me centered, that keep my body feeling healthy and happy and all that, that even those things can become sources of tension if they're not in alignment with a larger natural rhythm. And if there's not a part of me that's tuned into something even greater than that, even greater than those practices. So it's a lesson I feel like I've learned a number of times, and it's characteristic of me to get in a groove and to like to stay in that groove. So it's a helpful reminder for me that that's important and that's great and it's beneficial, and also to hold it gently and to allow myself to tune into what's coming through always, not just not just when I know what the rhythms, not just when I can predict the rhythm, but actually to let my intuition feel moment to moment what's actually being asked for here, what is actually trying to come through into my awareness. So that's what showed up today. I'm up in Santa Fe. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And feeling connected to the natural rhythm of things. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a wonderful day. Much love. I appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow.